good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Market Check brought to you by BB. The title of today's stream is Crypto Pumps. Mood still neutral? No. The mood is not neutral, man. Bears deserve nothing. Take from them everything and leave them with nothing, guys. It's not enough for us bulls to win. They must lose everything. Guys, before we get too deep into the show, do me a solid. Hit that thumbs up button if you are excited about what's to come. Show some support of the channel. Show some support of the show. Show some love to the bulls if you are feeling optimistic and encouraged. Just express it some way, somehow. Leave a comment, hit a retweet, call your grandma, tell her about the show, because we're going to go over a whole lot of stuff today, guys. Bitcoin appears to be doing that thing. Maybe you could call it a lockout rally. I don't know, right? There's a lot of different terms for what we're seeing, but really simply put, it's meat sticking, right? And I am joined today by Louis T, one of our analysts here at BB. He also goes by the nickname Meat Stick, or actually, forgive me, he just graduated from school recently. He got a PhD in meat stickology. So he goes by Dr. Meat Stick. Yeah. So Dr. Meat Stick, please explain to me what we're seeing right now. What are your expectations moving forward? Are we just going to keep going? Will it ever pull back? And how does it keep getting better?
I know it's hard to believe. Also, good morning, everybody. Welcome, bulls. Hope everyone's doing well out there. But yeah, I mean, listen, times are tough and then they're really good. You know what I mean? Like that's just how this market is. We're either chopping sideways, ranging, or we're pumping. Specifically Bitcoin, altcoins have been, flutters of hope here and there. Bitcoin has been meat sticking up, or consolidating, or putting in sometime occasionally these 30% pullbacks, right? But, this is something we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, right? And I'm sure not many people believed it. They didn't want to believe it. But we've really been talking about, or at least me specifically, this has really just been a consolidation and a flippening of our January 2021 highs. Something I talked about, I guess this was back in July, which is pretty crazy when we started breaking out of this range, how that was July, August, September, October. Wow, that's like 2.5 months ago. It's pretty crazy, man. Time's flying. I talked about this not being a true breakout, right? When you have a multi-month range like this, you come back to the upside, you consolidate, you break said range. You should see a breakout equal to or close to the size of the range, right? And that's not what we saw. What we saw was Bitcoin made fresh highs, right? I guarantee you there were tons and tons and tons of people, because I know everyone was bared up here, right? And we track this perfectly as well, right? This consolidation, again, very similar to what we're doing now, right? We're calling this consolidation under an old-time high resistance, or at the old-time high resistance. We broke out. We made fresh highs. Everyone who was bared up here, sidelined, was forced to chase this move, right? They were forced to chase this breakout because they weren't positioned for this. They were forced to chase the breakout because Bitcoin was trading into price discovery, right? And we never really had that full-blown powerful breakout. It was lackadaisical, right? We had 2 attempts at breaking out and seeing that true breakout. And in reality, breakout traders just got absolutely wrecked for the last couple months, right? Trying to catch that breakout. We then entered another multi-month consolidation on top of major market structure support, which again, I was noting, kept saying multiple times, look to the left. You have so much market structure here, and people were calling for us to drop down into here without counting the fact that we're at market structure, right? So always support till proven otherwise. And once again, beautiful consolidation, beautiful bull flag, falling wedge, whatever you want to call it. And now we're seeing a breakaway. Now we're seeing a breakout from this consolidation. We've broken this local consolidation downtrend. We've broken key horizontal resistance, which is this 117K level that we got rejected at twice, right? Rejected here once, rejected here twice, continued to press up into that level, and now getting that breakout. So right now, I know that sounded like a lot, right? But right now, this is very simply a range breakout, a throwback, and now we should be seeing the true breakout for Bitcoin into price discovery. And something I've been saying over the last couple shows, or I've been saying it for the last 2 weeks, is that I think Bitcoin has a strong leg to the upside from here, right? That surprises a lot of people, right? Not many people right now are in the camp that Bitcoin has a lot of juice left in the tank. Most people are like, yeah, Bitcoin's been running for 2 years, right? Great rally, great bull market, but likely not going to do much, right? It's altcoins' time to shine, which I believe it is, right? Altcoins are going to do great from here on out. I totally believe that, but I think that Bitcoin has a big leg first, right? And it will drag ETH and altcoins up with it. But in my opinion, there's nothing better that can bring eyes and people back into the crypto market than like headlines and news articles and CNBC talking about Bitcoin trading at $135,000 plus, right? There's nothing healthier and better to be able people turn around and be like, wait, what? I thought Bitcoin topped. I thought Bitcoin was just at 100,000 or 105,000. It's trading at 135, 140,000. What the hell just happened? I got to play catch up now. I got to go look at altcoins and get exposure to this move because I fell asleep at the wheel and wasn't paying attention because everyone was telling me Bitcoin was topped, right? So I think Bitcoin is leading. I think it's very visual that Bitcoin is leading this rally. I think it's going to continue to lead. I think we're going to have one day very soon have a big, 10K candle plus for Bitcoin that everyone's just like, what the hell just happened? Or we just keep putting in, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 candles per day, back to back to back, and continue to lock out the bears. But, this is not surprising to me, right? I mean, this is a very simple thing. Breaking out, throwback, holding on to support, retesting it, finally breaking to the upside. This should be a big, fast, vicious move, right? This wasn't the true breakout. This is what we got. This was the fake out. This was the retest. Now we get the real powerful move and, see what happens when you break a multi-month range to the upside into price discovery. So I think Bitcoin continues doing what it's doing. And if anything, maybe even accelerates here at some point.
Well, Louis, I like the sound of all that. It certainly seems like we're getting a lockout rally. It's been a long time since we've seen a squeeze of this magnitude, man. And it's almost like the calendar rolled one day to the next, right? Summer chop, pretty typical. September, typically a bad month. And then October 1st hits and look at what's happened, right? And it's not exactly looking like a vulnerable move that's not being supported by volume. It's looking like a very meticulous swing low pivot, trapped a bunch of shorts, fudded people out of their positions at the very tail end of summer chop just to make them forced buyers back into probably a new all-time high rally, right? It's almost like they scammed you.
Yep. That's what the market likes to do. I mean, look, Bitcoin's had a nice run, right? It's been rallying literally since it made a low, the FTX lows back in November of 2022, right? We're in October of 2025. I guess you could say for 3 years, right? But keep in mind, we've had 8-month consolidations, 6-month consolidations, right? 2-month consolidations, 2-month consolidations. So although we've had a nice rally, we've been kind of building up what I think is going. It is a parabola here, right? A parabola or a parabola, right? How do you say it, Max? Parabola or parabola?
I would say the formal, in Espanol, parabolamos, because it's plural. There's going to be multiple parabolas.
Right.
Parabolamos.
Right. Parabolamos.
Or we could do the formal usted, parabolen.
Ooh.
To show respect to the parabola.
Yeah, we must respect. Well, bears are going to learn to respect the parabola real soon, if not already. This is a chart I posted. What was it? Monday night, something like that, right? And I talked about these, having a nice run, but also having tons and tons of time-based capitulations, consolidations. So although it's been a nice run, it hasn't been very vertical. We've had spurts, right? We've had little spurts, but we've never really sustained it, right? And that's kind of how these parabolas set up.
Parabolamos, right? Or parabolen. Okay.
So that's how these parabolens shape out, right? The rally, it starts as a grind, and as you get higher within the parabolen, the trend becomes steeper, right? And that's what I think we're seeing here. And that's kind of why I think we're shaping up for a big, big move to the upside, similar to like a 2017 style blow-off move, in my opinion. I don't know if we're going to get these multi-year long, bull market. I don't know if we're going to get a blow-off top in 3 months. I really don't know. But what I do know is what I can see is that this trend is going from a grinding, rising trend, and we are coming into an inflection point where this trend should start to steepen, and we should start going more vertical, respecting this parabola, right? And that's what I think we're seeing. This is clearly shaping up as a parabolan. People are going to watch this video back and be like, what is he talking about? And I think Bitcoin is really, gearing up for, again, a lockout kind of what the hell just happened type of move, where people blink and Bitcoin's trading at 135, 140K, right? And this is not me now saying this. Now we've had a couple of good days. I'm all bullish. Like I've been saying this for the last couple months. More recently, I was saying it like 2 weeks ago. We had a little pullback, didn't change my thinking on it. But now that we're finally seeing it, feels good to see, right? So I'm not like, oh, we had a couple green days. Lewis is full on bull. Like if you guys have been paying attention, I've been bullish this whole time since 2022, right? But yeah, I mean, in theory, for the parabolan theory, this is where you start to see the verticality come, right? And then in this verticality, in this last kind of big blow off move for Bitcoin, that's when you really start to see the altcoins move and sustain rallies and do those crazy returns that everyone's here for, and that most people came and left before it happened,
Louis, I have a personal question for you. I hope you don't mind. But how did you manage to stay so bullish the whole time at every critical level amongst all the FUD, against everything? How did you personally manage to stay cool, calm, composed, and just nail every swing high and swing low? Because I'd love to understand. I would. Because many were not able to do what you did.
I'm a bit mentally unstable, Max.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same.
Yeah, you kind of have to be,
Yeah.
I'm not super smart, I'd say I'm about average intelligence. I have some street smarts. I have great common sense. I got balls or ball. Right.
Thank you. Because I was about to say, Louis, I got to stop you right there because you realize that we work together. And for me, being a uniballer, it's it can be very
Oh my God.
upsetting to hear somebody either intentionally or unintentionally pluralize you. You know, it's actually worse than being a racist. So,
Yeah.
I'm really happy that you stopped yourself before
Yeah.
going too far into the pluralism. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyways, I'm sorry. Please continue.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We'll say high T, right? We'll say testosterone, which is lacking nowadays.
So you're saying you have low IQ but high testosterone. That's what
Yes.
you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much the secret recipe.
So
Yeah.
you're what you're trying to tell me is that eat a bunch of red meat, work out, get your testosterone up, and just maybe give yourself a couple concussions, and that's
Yeah.
the key to nailing the market. Just
100%.
not being a chronic overthinker, right?
Yes. Yeah. You can't.
Okay.
There's many intelligent people out there that outsmart themselves in these markets, right? Like, joking aside, like you see like these very intelligent macroeconomists, economists. See, I don't even know how to say words, right? Like it's
I don't even know how to say words. This is
yeah, it's fine. But like there's very intelligent people out there that do not win in these markets. You know, they overthink, they bend their brains into pretzels, they overanalyze too much data. And this is another thing too. Like there's so many, like I use indicators here and there, right? I don't do a lot, you know, some RSI, some volume, but I'm very simple on how I look at these charts, right? I know what I know it well. And I don't like to add too much other stuff into my analysis because a lot of the time I find that it's like analysis, it's paralysis by analysis. You know, like when you're looking at too many things, when you're looking at all this economic data, right? When you're looking at all this FOMC stuff, like of course I look at it, I acknowledge it, I know it's there, but I don't let it infringe on my thesis. And my thesis has been since day one, you know, I bought Bitcoin down in here, guys, on this capitulation drop. I bought Bitcoin at $17,500. I was at my sister's wedding. I had low ball bid set for Bitcoin on Binance US at 17.5K, right? And going into this, you know, being that I went through from 20, I got into the crypto market in the top of the 2017 bull run, right? Buying from 2018 all the way through all of this, right?
Did you say you were at your sister's wedding buying Bitcoin?
No. So I had bids set. I had limit orders set.
I was gonna
Right.
say, does your sister know that you were that you were on there aping at her wedding?
I've done
They're
worse.
like, now we're gonna hear from her brother. He's got an amazing speech. You're like, hang on, guys, just 1 second. One
Yeah.
second. I'm just about to get filled. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, pretty much. I had lowball bid set at 17.5K. We got a big, massive sell off there that paid off having those bids. And going into this, like my mentality always was this is a multi-year swing trade on the crypto market, right? And yes, I was basing this off the original 4-year cycle type thing, right? But I've adapted, right? You know, just the can kind of got kicked down the road, but it was never canceled, right? In my eyes. So, but my mentality has always been this is a multi-year swing crypto, a swing trade in the crypto market, starting with Bitcoin and high cap altcoins, and then slowly selling this Bitcoin into altcoins as we've gone higher here. And I'm playing this market, specifically altcoins, until I think that Bitcoin has finished, like has topped, right? And there's been no indication that Bitcoin has topped, right? There's been no indication that high beta assets have had their turn to run in this macro bull run we've seen, right? We've seen high cap equity indices run. We've seen the S&P, we've seen the NASDAQ, we've seen the Dow Jones all make highs, right? All the Mag 7 stocks making fresh highs. We've seen Bitcoin make highs. What we haven't seen is low cap stocks and altcoins. You know, some have made highs, right? Again, we've had glimmers, but the majority of the altcoin market has not made new highs or had any sort of rally, right? Low cap stocks have not made new highs. And people kind of made themselves believe that we're going to have a rally like we've always had, equities, high cap equities, indices, the high cap indices, Bitcoin rallying. But for some reason, you're not going to get the second part, which is the high beta assets, your low cap stocks, your crypto. And that's just not how it works, right? Because at the end of the day, it's based off human emotions, right? Fear and greed, right? And as long as humans have greed as an emotion, they are going to venture down the risk curve. That money will find its way down the risk curve. In this case, it's taken about a year longer than we've normally seen, right? So that's where, sure, I guess you could say, quote unquote, we were wrong, but it didn't change any of my thesis, didn't change any of my belief and my spot holdings. And that has paid dividends, right? Not selling or trying to sell to buy back lower at any of these points because you've been burned every single time. So keeping it simple, understanding the macro thesis as a whole, understanding it could take longer than you'd like, and just surviving through these periods has allowed me to remain bullish. And a part of that is constantly looking for opportunities where they were on these drops, right? The amount of times my portfolio was down, but I found opportunities at the lows where most didn't want to look at the charts anymore. They didn't want to look. They couldn't stomach their portfolio. I was looking for opportunities. And when you got these rallies out of these, I compounded my positions that, before the pullback, if that makes sense. So buying the fear, sticking around, sticking through the thick and thin, and understanding the macro market cycle we're in right now has kept me in the game, Max.
Louis, what are you seeing with altcoins out there? Because Bitcoin's obviously moving. Altcoins are looking like they're trying to do something, for sure. What are you seeing with altcoins? Like, are we about to see alts really rally here? Are we cool with Bitcoin just leading a break to new all-time highs? Like, what are you expecting here, man?
Does this make sense?
Yeah, that does. But for the visually impaired, please narrate it.
Well, Max, this chart here. It's a chart I've shown a lot, right? This is total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH. A chart that not many people use, but I do, because, as we've said, low IQ, right? Low IQ. What this chart depicts, right? What you're seeing here is the pretty much every single altcoin in the market, excluding the top two, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? And what this chart is telling me right here is we've been in a slow grind off the lows along with Bitcoin, right? We've seen glimmers of hope in the altcoin market. Looking at this and being in the altcoin market, even me, I'm surprised that this chart is even up here, right, at this point. But we are, right? Taking out the emotion, right? Looking at this chart, this is telling you where the altcoin market is right now. And it's at your 2021 all-time high resistance. Currently, right now, poking its head above, right? So we've been in a slow grind off the lows for the last 2 years. Well, more so year and a half, right? So this chart, we looked at Bitcoin. Bitcoin started rallying end of 2022, early 2023. This chart didn't really start rallying until end of 2023, early 2024, right? But this chart and this depiction of the altcoin asset class does not get crazy, does not give those returns and those sustained rallies that everyone's been looking and waiting for until we get back above the 2021 all-time high, right? And this is how close we are. We are right here. We're poking our head above the 2021 all-time high. We've been rejected once already in January. We've been through a multi-month consolidation after that rejection. We've been breaking back out of this consolidation and now retesting this resistance. Your alts, and I wrote it here, alt season begins, right? What this alt season looks like, I don't know, right? We've talked about this, right? There's a lot of dilution. There's a lot of more tokens in the market. It may be a little more difficult. You might have to be a little more selective in with what you own, right? But what I will say, this chart being in price discovery, again, similar to the Parabolic we talked about with Bitcoin, slow grind. We should be starting to enter from a slow, meat grinder off the lows into parabola, steepening curve, meat grinder to meat stick, type environment, right? This is where it happens in here, right? This is where 80% of the gains in the altcoin and crypto market are made in 20% of the time, because that's how it happens, right? It's swing, and that's just swing trading, right? Swing trading, a lot of it's doing nothing, dealing with bullshit price action, and then in about a couple months, you make a sizable sum, and that's how this works, right? You go through a long period of slow grind, difficult price action, and then in that last 20% of the time, you make 80% of your gains, right? So that's how I'm looking at the altcoin market right now, right? We are on the verge of altcoin sustaining rallies. We're on the verge of the altcoin asset class as a whole finally getting back above its 2021 all-time high, wherein then you're in price discovery. There's no market structure to the left of you. FOMO ensues. Euphoria ensues. And we get that sustained rally up into, expansionary territory for the asset class.
Thank you, Wildcat fam. Terrible comment, though. How dare you? How dare you? And Louis, I will also mention with this chart, it's cool that it's all lining up like across different asset classes. Like we've talked about this chart, total 3, and its dependence on an IWM all-time high break. Look at you. I didn't even say it yet, and you just went right to it. I didn't even have to say it.
Yeah.
Like we're in sync. We are like Jordan and Pippen, like we're right there.
We know.
I mean, it's just automatic, man. So like I look at this and I say, okay, right as all-time high breaks occur for US small caps, very shortly after, what do we see? Beta rotations, major beta rotations, small lag, right? Small lag, but huge rotations, baby, huge. So I find it to be very interesting and convenient that it's all lining up at the same time. Don't you, Louis?
It's very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's almost as if it's done by design. It's almost as if markets are cyclical, right?
What, Louis?
Yeah, I know. It's
on.
Crazy. It's
talking
crazy.
like a madman now.
Yeah. When you see the Russell breaking all-time highs in the price discovery, not long after total breaks into all-time highs and in price discovery. And we could even look at the same chart we were just looking at. What was it? Total excluding Bitcoin and ETH. We could put this in log, I think. Oh, it is in log. Okay, that's good. Got to get this drawing tool off here. And you could see it's different this cycle around because when the Russell was breaking all-time highs, believe it or not, altcoin market cap wasn't even at the all-time high yet. So technically, if you're comparing this to the Russell, altcoins are actually higher now relative to where they were in 2021, where the Russell was breaking out. So that's interesting to note. But what I will say is the chart we were just looking at, right, which is total excluding Bitcoin and ETH, it actually very much lines up with this breakout. It's very, very close, right? And that's what we're kind of seeing, right? This was kind of breaking out of its basing formation as the Russell was breaking the price discovery. And then it just pretty much went vertical, right? For, let's see, how long did this go vertical for? From the breakout, January to November, right? So with a mid-cycle correction in between, right? So almost a year, or you could say 9 months, right? Which is kind of where I'm at, 3, 6, 9 months, maybe 3, 6 months, mid-cycle correction, kind of like we saw last year, then maybe another rally, and then we see. But yeah, the Russell breaking out into price discovery is a massive risk-on leading indicator for the crypto market. There's no doubt about it. It just tells you where the market's finding value.
Yep.
Oof. Pumping, eh?
I'm excited to see what altcoins can really do, man, because the big thing for alts is to have the king shit coin, Ethereum, in price discovery. And I really think at this point, with Bitcoin doing what it's doing, ETH is setting up for one of those famous Ethereum candles, man, like the famous 200.5-minute candle type of squeezes. And when ETH finally gets into price discovery, we are really going to see what these altcoins are made of. That's what I'm excited for.
Oh, yeah. I'd say that's the last pillar to fall, right? You got Bitcoin entering that kind of parabolic blow-off phase. You have the Russell IWM entering price discovery as we speak. You have total. Let's look at total real quick before we get into. This is another chart I've shown a lot. And this is just total, right? You have total where technically you could say it's above the 2020 all-time highs, but we never got like the true breakout. Very similar to Bitcoin, right? We made fresh highs, but we never really got the breakout you're supposed to see when you break out of a 4-year reaccumulation, followed by an all-time high breakout, right? Yeah, we made new highs, but we never got the true breakout as to what you should see. And we're about to see that right now, right? In my opinion, we're about to see that right now. We successfully flipped the January all-time highs into support. We've now traded several months holding above that key inflection point high, right? Yeah, we chopped. We had pullbacks. We did a whole lot of nothing, but we never lost it, right? And that's something I was telling the Discord. I was talking about on this show. We respected the January highs, flipped it into support. Price acceptance back above this high. Now we get the true breakout, and we see what total is going to do after breaking out from a 4-year reaccumulation and entering a true expansion for the crypto asset class as a whole. Like,
now, Louis, are you expecting a more muted alt season compared to what we've seen in the past? Because I've seen a couple different arguments. Like, if you were to let's do this for a second. Type in others dominance. This is what I want to talk about.
You want it down below?
No, you could do you could even just do like a chart, just like a normal chart. Okay. So if you zoom out, yeah, you're pretty zoomed out on that chart. Maybe zoom out a little bit more even. Like, do you think that this chart can go on to make new highs? Like, it's kind of a bullish looking chart, right? Like, what are you expecting for alt season, right? Or like alt outperformance? Do you think that this chart is going to print like, lower high, or we can actually see alts surprise a lot of people?
I've never looked at this chart in log like this, so it's not a chart I use a lot.
Yeah.
It's a tough question.
This is the $1 billion question.
At each peak at each new high on this chart is like the peak of altcoin season. Yeah, so like January 2022, Bitcoin was already topped. Altcoins were in for another month or two. Bear market ensues, right? Same thing here. Interesting. It's tough because I think this is probably going to be the kind of last free for all for altcoins in a way. And what I mean by that is anybody and their mother can decide, I want to launch an altcoin today, right? Anybody can do that. I think this is the last cycle where we see that, right? Where even last cycle, it wasn't as easy to do, but anyone can still do it if you have the know-how, right? This cycle, it's very easy to do. Everyone's doing it. I think next cycle or whatever kind of, maybe we move away from these cycles like we've seen. It kind of just enters more of a an equity style market where, yeah, we get bear markets, we get pullbacks, we get consolidations, but ultimately we just keep going up and to the right over longer periods of time. I think once regulation really comes in, that is going to put up a walled garden for the altcoin market. Whatever is established and accepted by the market or by the legacy or by, the big money will continue to go on and thrive. New projects that do launch over time will have to go through tons of regulatory red tape, get the green light from, the legacy overlords. So I guess in that sense, it's going to be, maybe we don't make new highs on this chart anymore, or maybe we do. They're just not. I don't know. It's a tough question. I think the altcoin market is going to continue to grow, but not in a sense of there's going to be more and more tokens. There's going to be less tokens to choose from, but the money that flows into those tokens will continue to grow over time. Does that make sense?
It does. And can you do me a favor and draw a diagonal trend line from the all-time high across the previous highs there? Because I just want to look at that.
From here?
Yeah. Because I think the question, like whether we really like break out there, I think that is, I think that trend line is going to be important. I do, as simple as it may be.
I would say this is important as well. Kind of get that confluent breakout.
Yeah.
I could see something where it's like you're starting to see like this was extremely vertical. You're starting to see the slowdown, right? You're starting to get lethargic, like maybe like a double top of some sort, and this ends up being a rainbow, right? I just don't know how this chart is calculated in a way as well. Like, is this like just compared off Bitcoin, like dominance compared to Bitcoin, or it's top 10 dominance compared to Bitcoin?
The others dominance chart it's the others index. So it's a market cap of all the coins outside the top 10 paired against, I believe, total then.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, I don't know if this chart makes new highs. If it does, maybe a slightly new high or a double top of some sort. And continues to do this, right? And that would kind of match up with what I'm saying. The top altcoins will continue to thrive and take market share. All the other crap and shit will go away. And there's going to be an environment where altcoins can't be created every day, right? And that will add to it, add to that effect, where the top 30, top 40, top 50 altcoins will thrive, right? And go on to have a great 10 to 20 to 30 years. And, a lot of the other stuff fizzles out and dies. So I guess if I'm saying that, and that's kind of how I feel, then this chart really shouldn't make a new high. And if it does, it's probably the last one. You know.
So it sounds like what you're saying is there is some degree of saturation in this market. And you think there's going to be a speculative bubble, which makes sense. But then after this cycle, you think it's going to narrow down to like the top 10, 20, 30 legitimate altcoins, right?
Yeah.
Only the strong ones survive.
Right.
What it sounds like to me, you are describing is the dot-com bubble.
Yeah.
When in the late 90s, early 2000s, everything that was www or a part of the the internet craze was catching a bid because nobody knew what was really going to stick and what wasn't. And then decades later, we find out we have 20 companies that basically are the entire US economy, right? Global economy, more accurately. So it sounds like you're thinking crypto is kind of going through that same phase where there is a lot of stuff that is crypto and everything's going to catch a major speculative bid. And then through time, it's going to slowly narrow down into legitimate projects, coins, whatever it may be.
Yeah, 100%. That's probably a better way to say what I just rambled on for about 20 minutes.
No, Louis, you did a great job. You did a really great job.
Thanks.
What are some of your favorite altcoins in the market right now?
Hold on. Let's just acknowledge that Bitcoin is pushing all-time highs right now. Maybe we get this 10K meat stick today. I'm telling you, my meat stick senses have been tingling. We've been getting some meat sticks. But I think there just needs to be one massive boom death blow to the Bears. Maybe we get it. Maybe we don't.
So you're looking for a violent liquidation push, man.
Yeah.
A violent liquidation push.
Yeah. They've had shorts have had zero like chance to cover or get out at any point. And now we're coming into these last highs. So I'd imagine there's some short liquidity up here. Wouldn't you say?
I would say so. I mean, I think this is, I mean, bro, if you just look at the previous, Q4s, we're just kind of doing what we've done in the past, man. And I think we're getting close to that point of no return where, we'll get some pullbacks along the way, but it's starting to look like, we are about to just start meat sticking.
And then vertical accumulate.
And then it'll be maybe some chop that kind of grinds higher, but
yeah, and then this, like, altcoins were just rampage.
And I think when Bitcoin sticks the landing here, I think it's very logical to assume that Ethereum is going to be coming up very, very quick.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very quick.
Look at the 3-day on this, man.
Someone had a question about Pepe and some like random volume spike. Could you pull up the Pepe chart and we can look at that? I'm curious what they're talking about. It was, hey, Max, what do you make of the two massive candles, volume spikes on Pepe over the course of October 2nd that traded right back into formation? Doesn't seem normal. Let's zoom way in, Louis. Let's zoom way in. Go to like the 1 hour or something. That's fine. Just because I want to see the candle. So October 2nd, major volume spikes that traded back into formation on the 2nd. I'm not sure I see what you're talking about.
Could be the exchange. What exchange?
This is on Binance. That does most of the volume.
Unless it's Coinbase. Could be Coinbase.
Could be Coinbase.
Because I'd imagine they're doing institution, like they're handling all the institutions as well. No, I'm not seeing it here either. I'm not seeing the volume spike. Unless it's a different type of volume you're looking at other than standard volume.
Yeah, I'm not sure I see it. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but
Yeah,
you might
I'm
have to
sure.
be a little bit more specific
Yeah.
if you want us to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, these highs are ready for the taking.
I was charting on CoinGecko.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's reliable data, but I'm not sure where they're pulling volume from. I don't see anything that's abnormal here. I've done some pretty extensive analysis on Pepe, and it's really just waiting for ETH to rip to the all-time high, man. That's really what's going on here. So ETH makes a new all-time high, and Pepe is just going to start meat sticking. You know, it's genuinely that simple. So
Meat stick meter, flipping green, yellow, red, green. Love to see it. Yeah, these three highs, 1, 2, 3. This is going to be like a cascade waterfall explosion to the upside of liquidations, short liquidations. That's going to push you like back up into the upper half of this zone of our range. Right, that puts you back up here. And then once you're back up here, it's game on for all-time highs, you know. It is what it is.
we got to look at BNB, man. I'm pretty sure BNB has been ripping.
Yeah, let's look at it. That's always a good sign. If BNB is ripping, that means they're going to pump altcoins. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say more, but am I still in Billy? Absolutely, brother. Where you been? Yeah, BNB in price discovery, always a great sign. Let's see. BNB heading into price discovery pretty much was the very beginning of the altcoin bull run, January 2021. So we're seeing that happen right now.
Dude, that is an insane looking chart, and no one is talking about it still.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because no one owns it.
Because CZ owns all of it.
This fucked everybody up.
That was a meat grinder.
This is the meat grinder before the meat stick. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to be the meat grinder. Be one with the meat grinder. And I remember we were talking about this on the show, and you know, pretty much all the analysts were like, yeah, I don't like the structure. And I was like, it kind of looks bullish to me, right? Just like rising demand. I loved these wicks, bang, bang. I loved the compression, right? And constant tests of the overhead resistance. You know, it looked bullish to me. I didn't buy it, right? So
I think BNB is just, I think it's just foreshadowing what's going to happen with that total 3 chart that you had pulled up earlier, Louis.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, BNB pumping is always a good sign. The more money Binance has, the better. In my eyes. Sheesh, we are pumping.
What's Bitcoin at now?
123,250. It's going to be a weekly meat stick. Oh, yeah. No sus. Look at that. Ooh. Right now, I mean, we got our 10K candle on the weekly. Damn.
Ooh, Thank you again, Wildcat fam. Louis, what are some levels of base Billy that you're looking for after losing chart support?
Okay. I got to pull up BBDGen here. But to kind of talk through before I get the chart up is, 1 second here. All right, let me switch my screen.
Look at this, man. I already know that you have to come up with a super large tax bill on the 15th, man. I already know you're an extension enjoyer. Absolutely. That might be something to look out for as well. If we do get a pullback, it's going to be everybody selling to pay their tax bill.
When is it?
That filed extensions. Maybe that would cause a pullback. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to pump it into that.
When is it?
Prime it higher into the extension deadline.
What is the deadline?
If you filed an extension, it's October 15th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they could be criming it into that so they can pay
Pace Bailey is definitely an extension enjoyer.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, study the BBDGen. Beautiful, beautiful place to look at your low cap tickers, right? Tons of data, tons of indicators, all here. We have even your BB custom indicators. We got about 24 of them here. Beautiful stuff. Let's go to full screen here and let's take a look at it here. First, let me mark out some levels because you mentioned specifically losing structure, right? So let's do this and then we'll get back into it here. All right. So this is how I'm looking at it. This is how I'm looking at it. We've had a nice run off the lows, right? We caught Billy real early. We got in like sub 1 mil, had a nice rally and party to 10 mil. And since then, we've been in a month and a half long reaccumulation phase, right? Is how I'm kind of looking at this. Coming off this bottom, this pivot point in the market, we swept all the lows, right? So anyone who's been trying to buy Billy or accumulate Billy has one kind of been stuck in, a chop range, right? And two, watching price sweep the low, right? Kind of sweep all the lows. To me, this is a beautiful setup, right? This is kind of where you get your peak capitulation followed by a reclaim and continuation higher, right? So we've swept all our accumulation lows. We're coming into the last bit of demand left we have on the chart here to the left. We dinged it, right? Banged into the demand. Beautiful bounce. And now we are coming into overhead resistance, right? So what I'm looking for, this is your trap. This is your bear trap, right? And what we've pretty much seen all across crypto. Bear trap, get back above, and then we start to see the real run for Billy, right? Let's see if I can put on the daily here so you can see a little more. But it looks like they've been selling some Billy during my bullish spiel. There's some angry people out there, I guess. But like when you look at this chart on the daily, nothing has happened yet, guys. Literally nothing has happened yet. But yeah, sweep all the lows. You need the key reclaim, right? So we need to get back above this supply. Sure, we could find some resistance here, but over time, the team's still building. They got tons of stuff in the work. They got liquidity pools running now. You could earn yield on your Billy. They got a Billy NFT project coming out. They've been building the entire month and a half, 2 months, telling me that this is a legitimate project. They ain't going nowhere. And those will be the leaders coming out of, this rally. So yeah, just kind of got to get back above, 3.5, 4 million. And I believe we're off to the races. So still very bullish, still got my position, and pretty much just looking for this key reclaim. And then we see the real run for Billy, kind of how I'm looking at it, and what I'm waiting for here. I've been liking what I'm seeing. Right? I've been liking what I'm seeing. I love watching like when teams are building, especially these new projects, when things are bad, right? That tells you that, they're legit. A lot of these altcoins that pop up, things are good. They're posting, they're doing all this stuff, rah, rah. And then when things hit the fan, it's ghost town, So I like what they got going on. And Billy to a Billy. What can I say?
That'd be a crazy run, man.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, base is very exciting, man. There's clearly going to be a lot of money coming to base, right? And the question is, like, what does it flow to, right? What does it flow to? So I think just buying, like having a diverse portfolio on base is probably not a bad bet at this phase of the cycle.
Oh yeah, there's tons of crazy, utility type like tokens that are out there popping up on base. That's what I really like about base too. Yeah, there's meme coins, right? I think Billy has a chance to be one of the top meme coins on base that hasn't already run to hundreds of millions, right? Yeah, because you got your Bretts, you got your Toshi, stuff like that. You got Ski that went on a big run. Base Pepe even like hit almost 200 mil last year. That was when we caught as well. But this is one, the timing of the launch and where kind of base is heading in my eyes, which is only going to get bigger from here soon. Like you're going to be able to buy any base token on the Coinbase app. So that's millions of Coinbase users going to be able to buy on-chain tickers, right? And the opportunity is this, it's called Base Mascot, right? It's got a great community they're building, has a chance to capture a large amount of mind share for, the largest L2 on Ethereum. And again, it's one that hasn't already ran to that 100, 200, $500 million valuation. And that's where I see the value, right? So do your own research. This is a low cap, guys. So disclaimer, this is extremely low cap token. These are the highest risk stuff you can trade. We normally don't even talk about stuff this low cap on this show, only in the Discord. But we did get the super chat, so we want to respect that. But yeah, that's my spiel on Billy. And yeah, I'm bullish.
How does Soul look today, Louis?
Let me switch back. Oh man. Not green on the day, but looks good. Weekly looks good. And again, that's because I think this is a Bitcoin-led rally, right? So Bitcoin leading the rally. I guarantee you we're seeing a bounce out of Bitcoin dominance right now. But yeah, Sol looks good. We're just inching towards the all-time high. Rejected once, rejected twice. Third or fourth tap, this is going to go. All right, third or fourth tap, this is going to go.
What is Bitcoin dominance doing today? Have you looked at it yet?
No, I want to look because I've been calling for a bit of a bounce. Yeah. Little bounce. I don't know how high it's going to go, but we're at a spot where I think we could bounce.
Yeah.
Right. Like if Bitcoin puts in like that 10K daily candle, right, I'm talking about, or just a massive day, you're going to see a bounce out of Bitcoin dominance.
I'll be honest. I think that's a little higher than I would expect.
I agree. I'm
see
surprised
that,
it hasn't bounced more, right, already.
Like if you zoom in just a little bit so we can see this. You don't even have to no, keep your time frame. Perfect. Okay. Just zoom in a little bit. See that like weekly order block at like 62. Sorry, to the right before the last downtrend. Right there. Yeah. I don't really see us getting above that, honestly.
I agree.
I think that's gonna, if we do see like Bitcoin rip to 130 and lead the rally, I could see something like that. But
yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of a bounce already. And because of that, I would agree. Maybe up into here, kind of underside, bearish retest roll. And I'm looking for that kind of complacent shoulder. because I'm sure there's people like, Bitcoin almost trading back at all-time highs and my alt's barely moving. It's like, yeah, Bitcoin's is a vacuum right now.
Which is, by the way, a good thing. I think people
Yes.
always conflate like Bitcoin ripping and their alts just kind of like watching as bearish, where you want Bitcoin to lead every rally. Like that's what you want. You don't want Bitcoin like lagging, chopping, and your alts ripping. That's typically the sign of a very unsustainable rally. You absolutely want Bitcoin ripping.
Yeah.
Look at that meat stick, man. That is beautiful. Beautiful.
Oof.
You have to love that, man. You just have to love it.
Fucking beautiful. It's beautiful when TA works out.
So beautiful. Look at that, man. Michael Saylor is having a great day today.
Oh yeah. And there's so, just think about, oh man, the amount of people that, one, sold on this, and two, were waiting for this. Oh.
Yeah.
And now they're sitting here watching this.
How are we feeling about an all-time high break while Bitcoin vol is at historic lows? I mean, we've talked about that.
Happens.
I mean, that's
that's what happens.
That should tell you that you've got a lot of runway on this move.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a good thing. And someone says daily RSI at 70. That's typically when things start to heat up, is when you get some closes in that 70 region. That's when the meat of the move happens. When you're pumping hard and daily RSI gets above 70, go back and look at some of the historic moves there, Louis.
Yeah, I hate when it has this.
You don't like the MA, Louis? What?
No.
What?
Low IQ. It's too much going on. ADHD just kicks in.
Too complex.
Yeah, it's too complex.
Go back and look at like the Trump pump in November, man.
Yeah.
Draw a little line or a dot when RSI got above 70 and like stuck the landing there.
I mean, it tagged it here twice. We're right here. If anything, we're here. First time it tagged. Oh, wrong line. Shit.
He did horizontal.
Low IQ. I don't know the difference. Right there. That's where we're hitting right now on the RSI.
Please comment on Dr. Wrecked, aka Dr. Profit, loading short positions heavily. I don't know who that is.
I've seen him.
I don't know who that is. I've never heard of that guy.
He's just one of those guys, big, massive following, like almost over 100K followers. Just says ridiculous stuff. Always trying to call the top and bottom. He had like one or two good calls and then fucked it up. I think last I saw, he called this top.
He has 500K followers.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Dude, there's less than a dozen accounts out there that have that many followers that you can trust, man. The algo doesn't reward people that post like real thoughtful analysis, man. The best alpha you're going to find is honestly like small accounts,
Yes.
Like there's some guys I follow that have 2,000, 5,000, 8,000, like they post real analysis or like, actual stuff. And there are some really good big accounts, to be fair. Like there's some. Like a lot of the guys that have like 500K, some like there's a few I can think of that are really good. A lot of them are just engagement farming, man. Like that's how they grow those big followings. Is like, dude, the biggest growth hack on X is literally just posting extreme stuff. Like if you just post ridiculous like bearish stuff at lows when sentiment's terrible, it goes viral. If you post really bullish stuff when we're pumping, your content gets pushed, man. Like there are good accounts that are big, but like most of them are just,
at some point I feel like, and this is a theory, at some point when these people, maybe they are really good, right? And they're good at what they do. At some point you have to question and ask yourself, like, are they compromised in a way where someone buys their account or pays them in a way to post certain things that benefits others, you know, like leading people to slaughter, but getting paid to post.
I mean, I'm looking at this Bitcoin chart. I'm like, I don't know why you'd be shorting here. Like, what's the short setup here?
There isn't one. It's
Like, where's your invalidation? Like, I mean, I don't understand. Like, there's not a logical setup here other than like I'm gonna short a sweep of the all-time high for a rejection.
after we
Which
just
even
did that.
then it can be risky. It's like, where's your invalidation?
Yeah,
Like,
after
where
we
do you
just did
stop
that.
out? Where, like, if you were gonna short here, you'd want to see some sign of distribution first. Where, like, right in the middle of a pump, why would you be trying to short that? Wait for a big liquidation candle or something first, you know? I don't see any reason to be shorting this right here. Like, if it's going to be a short setup, it's going to present itself in the next week. I'm not seeing that here.
Yeah. What happens is people wait for this, right? There's a lot of 100K, 107K callers out there. Doesn't come. You get the reversal. They don't trust it because they think they're so intelligent, so smart that it has to come down here. And they're kind of trading on tilts, and they're feeding their ego, right? Because they think that this is a guarantee instead of saying, okay, wow, Bitcoin just broke back above key resistance that's been capping us for the last month. That invalidated my thesis that price was coming down here. I gotta get long. Instead, they post all this wild stuff to their large following. They don't want to look stupid. So, oh no, it's okay. We're just gonna kick the can. We're just gonna top here, and then we're coming down here. Then we all get a premier entry. And then
Could you imagine?
No,
That'd be not okay.
no, I'd be out.
Here's why I think it's very unlikely we would do something like that. One, that's ridiculous. But two,
Yes.
we already swept that all-time high in August.
Yeah,
We
did this already.
We already had the chance to distribute. Like, that was the point in which you should capitalize. Then we had the bounce up into the complacency shoulder, right? There's no bearish setup here anymore. There simply is not a bearish setup
Here's your
here
setup.
It's not it doesn't exist. It's a fugazi.
There's
It
your
looks
setup.
super strong.
And honestly, I was fine with this too. Like from yesterday, like doing this. But we didn't even get that. So maybe we break all-time high, do it, and then go, right? So be aware of that. But man, we're looking good. We're looking good, Max.
We are looking good, Louis.
Love to see it. What's the Russell doing? Oh, yeah, chatting. Yeah. Love it. And altcoins are going to play a big game of catch up too. But just let Bitcoin do its thing. Let Bitcoin do its thing.
Let Bitcoin rip, guys. Let it rip. Your time is coming. Dude, Riot is just ripping, man. Just ripping. Absolutely ripping. Just insane, man. Like, miners look so good.
Yeah. And again, another thing, right? Like, we were talking about the miners down in here. Miners were telling the true story. While the miners were starting to break out of this multi-year long consolidation, Bitcoin and crypto were pulling back. And that's, a great example of how, like, just simply reading price action at face value versus not looking at the whole picture. The whole picture was you had miners putting in a multi-year long breakout. You have the IWM inching towards price discovery, but your unexperienced crypto analyst is looking at the 4-hour chart on Bitcoin, and they're worried because it doesn't look so good. But you have to look at these other factors, right? And the miners pumping was telling the true story. Russell, IWM, inching towards price discovery is telling the true story. So sometimes price action at face value will trick you, right? So that's why you always kind of have to put all these pieces together before you come to a conclusion, especially in crypto. There's so many moving parts. And there's just so many people that think that they've traded other markets. I think they can come into crypto and do well. Like, no, this is something where you need to be in this market for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, almost every day, just to know this stuff, like me and Max have done. That's the only way to do it. And we're still learning,
All right, guys, I think that takes us into the end of the show. Yep, Riot does look a lot like Pepe. Very interesting comment there. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciated. Enjoy the pump, guys. It's coming to an altcoin near you very, very soon. Watch that ETH all-time high break. That's going to be your gig-along trigger, guys. It really is. Thanks so much for being here. Leave us a like or comment on the way out. And guys, check out bbterminal.com, that URL above Louis' chart. We built the best all-in-one place to track your portfolio and to chart shitcoins, guys. It's basically a better version of Dex Screener or Dex Tools. So consider switching over, using our products here at BB, guys. They're absolutely fantastic. But yeah, guys, we will see you guys Monday for another episode of Market Check. So everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe and take care.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal,